Today I am here to drop in for it's normally just a live for Cobra's Medicine Bag where we drop in with those moving through the Panchakarma we got going on at Broadcoven, who might be dealing with food or body image issues and just need a little additional support. But considering that the focus for both Grace and Crisis and the Roots with Wings course for this week, which is all about the Vata Rescue Remedy, I feel like we're all kind of on the same page and the energy felt very aligned. So I thought I'm going to go ahead and broadcast this one both to Cobra's Medicine Bag and Broadcoven. So this is going to be sort of whatever wants to come through. We're going to start it on the foundation of the White Light Oracle. And I did pick an oracle off of the Yule tree I got going on just to see what wanted to come in today. And I'll share that with you now. And we got Alpha of Alcyon. I want you to have a look at this here. Just taking this beautiful artwork from Alana Fairchild, who is a visionary artist, just absolutely exquisite work. But she's taken her art and transformed it into many different oracles. I actually would really love to have more of her oracles because this one and the Kali Oracle are the only ones that I currently have. I just think this is absolutely beautiful. I don't know. I'm just getting the hit now that maybe we should pull a Kali Oracle live. I think we'll do that. Okay. So, see, we're in a creative process, we're in a creative flow. That's a big part of the download that I have with this card. It's interesting because we just passed through that Via Combusta as of the 8th. And that was like the burning way, right? The fire test of truth. And it's when you have this, traveling between 15 degrees Libra and 15 degrees Scorpio. So, really tying those two energies together, bringing things into balance. It makes me think of loops and spirals, the circular paths that we travel in our lives, and circular paths is indeed the Sabian symbol for that 15 degrees Libra. And so I think this is really talking about this ever flowing journey that we're on, that everything travels in loops and spirals. It's always a circular path, and it's all to bring us right back to center. And when thinking of that center or that eye of the circle, we can also think of the stuff that swirls about us, right? All the energy that's always constantly moving around us. And we sort of get to decide where we pull our energy in from. We've talked about this pulling in or decreasing one's energy in order to build the light within, the light being the creative active force, and therefore being able to manifest outwardly that creative life force energy, but in such a way that it's very much focused, and that there's a clarity of vision. I have a lot of this sort of like impenetrable diamond energy coming through. I'm having a lot of archetypal imagery coming through in the past couple of days about really looking at the inclusions that obscure our clarity and going through this sort of like alchemical refining process so we can really get to the heart of what is. Also, the clarity that love brings, right? When we travel from that place of the outer reflection and we like bring it back into the self, we spiral in, we spiral down, right, into the subconscious, we spiral up, bring it up into awareness. And I think of that spiraling up, and I think of that cyclone energy, I think of that tornado energy. And yes, it really can be uprooting at times, it can be destructive, right? That's that chaos force, the creative force, the force of creation, but it also totally changes the landscape, right? And sometimes, they don't cause any damage at all. They just need to, howl and wail and move that frenetic energy and kind of change the landscape along the way, clear out some air. So it's also about, even if you got a lot of change whirling and swirling about you, and if you have a lot of emotions whirling and swirling within you, to go and find the center point of that. That when we focus on the center, when we always bring it back to center, then we do have a way to really clearly channel our energy. That makes me think of physically coming into our center, coming into that portal where our life really was nurtured, which is right through the navel, right? The belly button. And if you can kind of like almost consider when you're doing inhalations, as if you're almost breathing in through your belly button. It's a very visceral thing, okay? You can do it, and it may seem strange to think of breathing through your belly button. But it's not so unnatural, actually. Our bodies have a very visceral memory. We have cellular memory, and our bodies have a very visceral. Well, we're missing the mark right now. We're missing the mark right now. Maybe our focus is in the right place. Maybe we're not drawing in the correct way. What we're drawing in isn't nurturing our life force. Okay, so this could be a way to look at this. But we have a way to actually viscerally inhale, breathe in the life force energy, or what is known as the prana vayu. If we can kind of come into that center, and you can connect to that by placing your hand right over your navel, just to place your awareness there in your physical body, and close your eyes, and just take a few deep breaths right into that navel, right? And then you can just sort of almost visualize. It's imagination. It's activating the imagination. You remembered how to do this when you were a child, but as we grow older, isn't it funny how we tell ourselves that, oh, imagination is silly and pointless and it's child games, and yet we really lose touch with a lot of our creative power, don't we? We kind of start living life on autopilot and not really feeling connected to the moment, and not feeling connected to the wonder in the world. This is one thing about like almost awakening the childlike sense of wonder. Remember when you were a kid and you used to go outside and you'd look at the sky, and there was this feeling, right? You would almost grok this feeling like everything you were taking in was just so wonderful, right? It's about recapturing a little bit of that, and breathing in your essence through working with imagination, visualization, creation, manifestation, what we nurture within that eventually finds expression without, in the form of, the types of situations we find ourselves in, the types of conversations we have with people, even how we show up in the world, how we ourselves identify, which can radically shift. The more that you really get in touch with the present, the more that you become aware of what's sort of running the show within you, and how that reflects to the show you're seeing on the big stage of life. Okay. But you can just imagine, you're breathing through your belly button, right? It brings a little bit of like playfulness into it too, which is also helpful. It's helpful when you want to move into a more creative space, or when you want to start to call in, manifest more um, positive experiences. This is a part of deprogramming that I think a lot of us have to work with, especially those of us who are focused on the spiritual path. We often have been told, that the only way to grow is through suffering or hardship. This is a big one that we need to unravel. Okay. There's another spiral, right? When we unravel things, we often can, um, you know, go in a circular motion like that when we're trying to unravel something that's been bound up really tight. So this also may be needing to really unwind, the places inside of you that are bound up tight. All right. I like this. I like how this energy is moving, and You can even do that, physically, moving your chest in circles one way and moving your chest in circles another way. You can do the same thing with your hips. Okay. We bring a lot of this into belly dance, and maybe I'll start bringing more of this into Cobra's medicine bag, perhaps. Just some simple like belly dance warm ups and some things that you can do to start to loosen your body, loosen your spine. I'm getting this too. There's this thing that happens as well when you start to just sort of head into these circular motions with the chest and with the hips. It's the way it also creates that same kind of unraveling in the spine, right? And as you get this unraveling and loosening in the spine, you get this flowing of the cerebral spinal fluid. And that really starts to activate the lymphatic lymph system that it runs all through, the brain and feeds the whole endocrine system. So it really gets the energy moving. It gets the energy moving and it gets you out of stuck patterns. But this doesn't just affect you physically your energy, it also can unlock memory. And in unlocking memory, it doesn't just unlock present day memory, this life memory, it can unlock, way deep down, to the bottom of that well. You can start to really tap source, right? However you're ready to receive it, how ready you are to go out there, right? And it comes in its own timing, but the body physically can be a great portal for starting to get in touch with those more sort of etheric subtle energies. And it's through that traveling inward, but you can still kind of ground it in the physical by working with your body, you know get a little of that fluidity going in your spine, and you can experiment with that. But I feel like when we do this unwinding too, not only do we sometimes unwind memory because we have cellular memory in our bodies, we also unwind emotions, and it's all interconnected, right? You get the lymphatic lymph system moving, then you can also get, movement in those typical loops that you travel in your consciousness. You can actually have a shift in your consciousness where you're not looking at things in the same way. You're looking from an entirely different perspective because you can create sort of movement in the samskaras, which I view almost as like psychic wounds, or where there's like a skip in the record. You keep kind of hitting the same place over and over and over again. We see this in PTSD. And can it be activated? Can PTSD be activated? Most certainly. And you may have some samskaras, that might be part of your karma, is to move through life with this and learn how to adapt to this. But there's ways that even when you're in a circular pattern, all right, when you're in a circular pattern, for example, like is activated in a neural pathway with something like PTSD, a trauma loop. When people say they feel activated, or I often like to say instigated, because usually it comes from something outside of yourself, but the experience is very internal because it's something that has a very strong like memory imprint in your consciousness that you can go there very easily with the ignition of something that's kind of instigating from outside of yourself. But we need to start even looking at these as an experience of illuminating something within that can help set us free. So even in being able to move the energy when you're in, like, for example, a PTSD loop, there's something you can get out of the experience where it doesn't have to overwhelm you. You can actually create space for it, right? And learn how to move through it so you can come into the center of it. And one technique that I really like for that is cocooning. Okay, so, and it goes right in harmony with the energy that is coming forward in this final week of Panchakarma. And it works with that medicine of drawing in the pranavayu, the life force, to let it let it go through its process of transformation. So to cocoon, you can simply, um, hmm, let's go ahead and we'll experiment with it right now, shall we? We're going to go into the meaning behind Alana Fairchild's vision here with this beautiful card. All right, but I also want to drop in just and be spontaneous with it, with whatever wants to come through. So I think what I'm going to do is lead you through a little meditation for cocooning that can support you in the rest of the work that came in this week. So let me see here. I think that I want to go ahead and bring in a little smoke cleansing. All right. I'm going to bring in some white sage and just clear the energy out for the collective and bring in some reverence around whatever you're transforming in your life right now, whatever you're releasing, bringing in a bit of that essence of that eagle totem, great spirit, also Garuda, the golden eagle, Vishnu's Vahamana, his chariot. Also, to get that bird's eye view, to get a little perspective. All right. So you can be that center of everything that's swirling about you. And I do feel that right now, so much is coming in through the air, through the wind, that element. So pay attention. You may notice that you're getting a lot of messages from birds. Feel like there's going to be messages coming in. I feel like there's some inspiration that's about to come in. Fairy is so forward today. I just really feel like um, those of you who feel drawn to fairy, who feel drawn to work with fairy, or who are questing for the four jewels of the Tuatha De Danann, now is really a time when you'll be getting a lot of insight, a lot of messages from fairies, so pay attention. And they often will bring things in on the wind, especially the sylphs. So I feel like that sylph energy is front and center at this time. Great spirit is really bringing a lot of messages through. So continue to look for that symbolism in your environment, the eagle symbolism, especially those of you who did the attunement to Garuda's energy. You'll see it pick up. All right. I really feel like there's going to be a lot coming in. And also, when you notice that the wind is blowing or there's a breeze coming through, notice what direction it's coming in and bring in a little bit of that elemental essence. Maybe this is telling you where the inspiration lies. You know, north is associated with earth. I just had a leaf fall from a tree outside the window, an oak leaf. Okay. I love that. North is of the earth, okay, element, and east is of the air element, and south is the fire, and west is water, okay? And above, of course, is ether or akasha. You know, the center is the spirit and us, and we're like that great divining rod that helps draw down that energy and root it in physical reality, right? So when those messages come in on the wind, pay attention and just listen, listen, sort of like she is here. She's just listening. I feel like there's going to be a lot coming in related to wind element and also ether, akasha, which are both connected to vata. Okay, so vata is ready to get the energy moving forward. Vata is ready to receive the inspiration that sets things in motion. But in order to really receive it, all you have to do is just get into that place of stillness and listening. So this requires us to be still and to listen and to be present, not only with um, what's happening in the moment that we find ourselves in, the experience we're having, but also within ourselves, what's going on emotionally and how that's reflecting outside of ourselves. How are we feeling? Getting into that kind of like sensory experience of it. Okay. And listening, deep listening to gain that clarity. So let's do a little traveling within to nurture this metamorphosis. I have two totems coming in tandem right now, and I feel like they're almost dancing like in this spiral together, this spiral of transformation. And a part of it might be a DNA activation. I really feel that this energy coming in because I'm seeing monarch butterfly sort of spiraling with this moth medicine. Okay. And so we know that moth medicine is the medicine of rebirth. The moth will often throw itself into the flames of transformation because it's seeking the light, right? And I feel like that's what we're doing right now. We've traveled through the darkness. We're also heading into the unknown, and yet we're wanting to be transformed by that light. We're wanting to find that guiding light forward. So I feel like this is the energy really coming in right now is a musing energy. All right. So look to tap into your muse. This week is what I'm hearing. Okay. So the next 7 days, there's going to be a lot of messages that are going to be coming in, and it's a musing energy. And it's meant to activate your creative life force or that creative Shakti energy, that Parvati energy. This is about really recognizing and sort of tying in all the different pieces that came through before for us, right? It's tying in this piece of, holding this creativity in our hands, in our beings, and filling that first by building the light within so then we can give it out as an offering and more will be reflected back to us in our environment. It's coming in very strongly. I want to bring in a little Reiki energy. Okay. So you don't have to receive this, but I'm just going to sort of clear out the energy for the collective with a little of this selenite, just sort of wiping the slate clean. And that's the thing with that circular patterns is that we can always come back to center. We can always wipe the slate clean. And we don't have to wait to do that. We can do that moment to moment to moment to moment. Makes me think of, those little Zen gardens where you have the sand. You can even get the mini ones that you can have on your desk. And they have sand and rocks, and they come with a little mini rake, and you can make these beautiful circular patterns. It can be very meditative. Um, but then just like that, you can wipe it away. You wipe it away. You go back to another moment, and we can move through life in this way too. So I just wanted to clear the energy and bring in some Reiki before I lead you through this little meditation to root what is coming through with this card. You do not have to receive the Reiki, okay? Everything is by your free will and what you feel in resonance with. So if you wish to receive the Reiki that I'm going to call in, the Reiki, the intention behind it is going to be to attune you to the energy of transformation and to create the space you need around that so you can really build your light within and get clear on what you are needing or are being asked to bring forward at this time. What is your calling? What is your purpose at this point on your path? And I believe even our purpose can go through different evolutions. We're starting an important rite of passage on that journey, certainly with wanting to travel up into that Aries North Node and activate, initiate a brand new cycle, a brand new circle of experience, right? To go on, to travel on, and a new upward spiral of the journey. We're always traveling in spirals. We dip down to retrieve and build the light within, and then we bring it out upward into our life experience to share it. And we continually are on this journey of loops and spirals. That's what that circular patterns. Sabian symbol for 15 degrees Libra was all about. That's how we find that balancing point. Is remembering that this is natural. This is a natural flow. Okay, so um, this Reiki will also be to support you and just, you know, not fighting that and finding peace in that, even as it may seem that everything's swirling about you. And it could be very easy to get distracted and caught up in the fray, but you want to stay very focused and centered at this time because there's a musing energy that's wanting to come through. And this musing energy is going to inspire you. And once it inspires you, you're going to build the light of passion and connection with that within. And absolutely that's going to come through that cauldron of Dagda as well, really, getting that transformational fire cooking through, getting those waters bubbling and percolating. And when I think of, the waters, I think of the emotions, but I also think of the intuition, right? I think of the instinct, all of these things to tap into the intuition and the instinct require us to go within, pull in that prana vayu and sit in that place and just stew for a bit, okay? And we're all here. We're all in this collective ocean of emotion and this sea of transformation and the unknown of what lies ahead. And we're each individually experiencing that all within our own little, sector of these waters. But at the same time, we're all interconnected through it. And we're all one great pod of humanity that is on our way to that distant shore. And even when we get to that distant shore, it's just one arrival point, right? There will be more seas to traverse. This is a constant loop and spiral. We're always traveling in these circular patterns. And the beauty is being in the center of it and just witnessing it and witnessing it within us and seeing how it transforms, right? So um, I'm also bringing in with this Reiki your ability to form a real direct connection with your muse and to activate your muse so that you can bring a little bit of artistry to your life so you can be in partnership with this creative life force energy, or what some would call chaos, or what is astrologically right now. Hello, good to see you. What is actively transforming right now, what is actively swirling about right now, and how do you want to bring it into form? How do you want to call these things into being? And I'm just going to move over to a different screen view right now because I don't want to get distracted by comments. And I'm going to bring in the Reiki energy for you all to receive, those of you who wish to receive it. And if you don't, that's okay. All right. But I am going to lead us through a meditation, so I'm not paying attention to comments right now. This is to support you in coming into your center where you can really embody your creative power. We're also just going to bring some clarity to the energy with this Herkimer diamond. Herkimer diamonds are wonderful for just clearing out any obstructing kind of energy that you may be holding within you that you might not even be aware of. Things that are just keeping you in a locked place where you become like the skip in the record, right? You just keep going over this same old point again and again. Uh, how many times have we ran into circular arguments, right? Or we keep finding ourselves having the same kind of experiences over and over again. That's an example of a circular pattern. But you can also elevate that energy and be focused in a different way. The center of a swirling circle, it's still circular, right? But there's this beautiful thing that happens if you can be very present and if you can focus and you can come into your center, that you start getting a new view of things. And you're not in a stuck pattern. You're not affected by anything that is kind of swirling around you. And that you're also recognizing that despite what may appear to be shifting around you, that you do get to choose how you channel what may seem chaotic, unpredictable, you know, even in some cases disruptive energy. You can work with it as fuel to build a different kind of energy. You know, it's just energy. We label it as good or bad, right? That's where our BS, our belief systems come in. And if you can just recognize that this chaos energy or Eris on the North Node does not have to be bad, it does not have to be a negative thing, then you can say, wow, this is a lot of creative power at my disposal. And if you don't have attachment, if you're ruled by outside authority, you're automatically disempowered, right? That's when we give other people power over our manifestations. And that's when people will move into a consciousness where they blame things, you know, they blame things for the way things are. Um, we hear this all the time um, with Mercury retrograde, right? Every time Mercury retrograde comes around, you hear people talking about, well, this and this and this is going wrong because of Mercury retrograde. But that has a lot to do with the belief systems around it. It's like, yeah, it's energy. It's swirling about in the universe. Do the planets have an effect? Absolutely. You know, do the stars and how they're aligning and the asteroids and all that have an effect? Yes, it has value. But you still get to choose how you work with that energy, and you can work with destructive energy in an empowering way. It doesn't have to be destabilizing. In fact, it can actually give you more resilience. It can give you more strength. It can give you more focus. All right. It's just about how you work with the energy. It's all about how you work with the energy. All right. So that has everything to do with where you put your awareness and where you put your attention. So it can be very helpful to dip in intentionally and build the energy within. So I want to just lead you guys on this meditation before we read a lot of Fairchild's words, because I really want to bring this in, since I feel like the energy that's about to come in this week and is really going to be building. And for those who are questing for the 4 jewels of the Tuatha De Danann, who are currently going for that cauldron of Dagda, I just got the memo that we're going to be starting the journey for the 4th jewel, Liafiel, the Stone of Destiny, come new moon. And I think the next new moon coming in is in Scorpio. Okay. I also got the memo that we'll be journeying for that one through the year. So, um, we're going to have a ways to go with that fourth jewel. All right. But we will be moving forward. So look for the energy to amplify. Um, that veil's still thin. Let's put it that way. Okay. That could be one way of looking at it. So we do know that we're like burning away what's ready to be released, and when we burn something away, it's being transformed. Okay, you need that fire of transformation. You also need the water, symbolized by the waters in that cauldron of Dagda. And that's when we get something cooking that can really nurture this new pathway that's opening up for all of us now. And we all have our own pathway within the great pathway within the Tao. The Tao is the way. It's another way of saying the way. But just like there's many streams that lead to one source, you know, so are our paths, but it doesn't mean they're not all interconnected. Okay. So it's kind of an interesting experience that we're having here as we're journeying through this Scorpio season. Scorpio is the deep waters, but we're bringing in a little bit more activation. So a lot of you are going to start to have that musing energy coming in. A lot of you are going to start to have, more direct connection, more awareness of your direct connection with spirit or higher consciousness or Atman. It's not that it's anything new. You've always had it, but a lot of you are remembering it. And I like to think of that word remember, the etymology of that word remember. It's that you're like bringing parts of yourself, or even just revisiting, aspects of yourself in some cases, um, and you're bringing them back together into this synergistic whole. Okay, but do look for life to get a little surreal, right? And no, it's not your imagination. You are getting creative musing energy that's coming in, and pay attention to the air element. I feel like a lot's going to come through the sky. That's what I got. The sky, the ether, the air element, So in those moments when you're out stargazing at night, or you're allowing yourself to drink in the lunar essence of the moon, in harmonizing yourself with the lunar cycles, this might be something you all want to work with right now. You might really want to learn about the lunar cycles and notice how they're playing out in your lives. If you feel like that seems very inaccessible to you right now, a good way to begin to get in harmony with that and with the season and just the natural, circular patterns of all things is with a farmer's almanac. Okay. And if you want to get into the metaphysics, and there's even, farmers' almanacs that bring in different like metaphysical correspondences that you can find. And you can even chart out on your own calendar. There's even apps that allow you to chart out the lunar cycles. Okay. So this piece coming in and this need to connect with that lunar essence. So I do recommend, if you can, get out, do a little stargazing at night, or maybe start taking a walk, after your dinner. It helps digest your food, but it also kind of cools down the emotions, right? Lunar essence is very soothing. It's very associated with that Shakti energy. And I feel like that's what's building right now. This always happens anyway when we're moving through Panchakarma. The Shakti energy is what's focused on the final week. It's about the feminine receiving energy, intuitive energy. It's really building the light of that creative life force energy that's getting ready to come through the avenue of you and manifest, find expression in the outer world through the active principle of light. See, once you build the light, then it has to move because that's the nature of light. It's yang, it's the masculine energy, it's the avenue. It's the way through. Okay. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and do this meditation, this method of cocooning to build the light of transformation within you, to connect you with your muse, to make you receptive and receptive in a way where you can have your own energetic boundaries around it so you can greet, the energy that wants to come in for you in a way that feels like you can hold it, okay? And where you can also create space for yourself where people aren't like, kind of like inserting themselves into your energy either, right? It's very simple to do. And as you work with that rescue remedy that came in, for those of you who are working with the free Roots with Wings course and Grace in Crisis course for this community Panchakarma through my website, Cobra's Medicine Bag, um, this is a wonderful thing to use in tandem, with that rescue remedy, which is having a nice, warm, nourishing, nurturing meal, doing an abhyanga, and taking some kind of cleansing bath, that's also very nurturing feeling. Or if you don't have a bathtub, nice warm shower. I mean, just these three things are amazing for how they can bring you back to center if you're feeling really frazzled or if you have nervous system activation. But when you pair it with a practice like this, it's really potent. Okay. So when you're going through these upgrades too, right? When you're getting a reboot, let's say, let's look at it that way. You're also going to have this experience where you can have nervous system activation. So if you've got clairs waking up in you, or if you're getting a lot of downloads and maybe you feel like, whew, I'm not quite used to it coming in like this, that hit different, this is something you can work with to help ground the energy out and help you integrate it. Because, the body takes on a lot as you open up into greater levels of conscious awareness. The physical body goes through major shifts too. Okay. So let's create a little space for that. So wherever you're sitting right now, if you can have your feet flat on the floor, do so. Okay. It's important. Make sure you're kind of comfortable. Okay. So you can kind of adjust yourself right now in your seat and make sure you're in a space where you can kind of find center by sort of rocking back and forth in your chair for a minute. Even rocking your pelvis back and forth to find out what's center. And then when you find that center point, just allow yourself to rest there. That's making a nice like connection between Muladhara, the root chakra, and you can even visualize it just right now. Just close your eyes, go internally, okay? And let your chest just kind of soften a little bit. Maybe roll your shoulders back a few times just to open up this area. Maybe like just let your body kind of loosen up for a minute. Just shake it all out, okay? Don't get static. Don't get stuck. Just kind of shake your whole body out for a moment. All right. And then come into a place where almost like it feels like maybe there's a string that's right on the top of your crown, on the top of your head, and just envision that it's being pulled upward to just give you a little space in between the vertebrae of your spine. And close your eyes and go ahead and, if you feel like it, turn your eyes inward and up toward the third eye, and you can gently rest the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth. And just breathe, okay? No breathing any particular way. Just allow yourself to just breathe naturally and just simply observe your breath going in and out. Notice notice if you have any kind of like rising in your belly or if that's absent. Don't try to control it, okay? You're just witnessing how the prana, how the life force prana, that activating force, that air is traveling through your body by following it with your consciousness. This is when just simply breathing can become a meditation. A lot of people feel frustrated with meditation at times because their mind travels to many different places. So if you have a hard time with stillness and receiving, if it's hard for you to receive, this is a really great meditation to work with. You could just do something as simple as this, just taking a couple minutes, even 1 minute, to sit and just follow your breath with your mind. Allow your mind to focus on where the breath is traveling to your body. Are you noticing your belly rise? Are you noticing places where it almost feels like your breath feels stuck, or maybe where it feels constricted? And when you notice that, using the breath to maybe breathe a little deeper into those places in the next, inhalation, and as you let it out, and try working with just nostril breathing as well. Okay, just not holding your mouth tight, just lips gently parted, and just, allow yourself to just breathe in through your nose and notice how that changes the experience too. Do you notice what kind of temperature comes in with the inhalation through your nostrils? And does that temperature change on the exhalation? You're not trying to make anything be other than what it is. You're just noticing sensation. And sometimes when you're doing this, you might start to notice certain feelings arise within you, and you can take this the next step further. And if you're noticing certain emotions starting to rise within you, and maybe this is starting to make you feel like a little constricted or distracted, okay, this is a way that you can bring yourself back into the feeling and create space, breathing room for the feeling without it being activated. So let's say you're having that experience, okay? Just get curious about this feeling. Get out of your BS, get out of the belief system about what this feeling is or whether it's good or bad, right? We could say this even in the scope of, like, let's say anxiety. You may be used to encountering this sensation as anxiety, but let's get out of this space of labeling it anxiety. Let's drop that belief and let's just get curious about this sensation instead. Okay, let's build an image around it. Okay, whatever you're feeling in your body right now, just notice if you have any particular feeling arising. And let's look at it this way: feelings don't have to have labels. You don't have to label them. You don't have to call it anxiety. You don't have to call it fear. You don't have to call it anger. What if you instead just said, I have this interesting sensation in my body. Let's build an image around this sensation. Does it have a temperature? Does it have a color? Bring your senses into it. Does it have a sound? Okay. A vibration? And just keep breathing into the space, into the physical location where you're noticing this sensation as well, right? You can take this as far as you want. You can continue to build this as I take you to the next layer of this meditation, right? It's all up to you. And I want you to go ahead and let's just create a little kind of grounding experience here. So I just want you to envision right at the tip of your tailbone, I want you to envision like a red laser light just shooting straight down into the floor beneath you, or if you're outside, the ground beneath you, no matter where you are, traveling right underneath you, and envision it traveling all the way down through the different layers of soil, the different layers of the earth, all the way down, and let them come through as they want to come through for you. Any images of crystal bed you're traveling through, or the water template and what that looks like, and the layers of adobe, just allow your own imagination, your own sensations, your own powers of visualization to come through and travel all the way down with your consciousness, and allow that laser to go right into the center of the core of the earth. And when you get there, just imagine drinking up through that laser. It's like it's an electric current that matches the frequency of the laser, and it starts to infuse in that laser beam, and it's now beaming back up right into your root. And envision a great large red orb of light emanating there and just pulsating, just filling with this earth frequency, right? And you can even envision this earth frequency sort of like traveling beyond that, and just allow it to sort of fill your entire body. Imagine that frequency merging with the all the synapses, firing off in your brain, and with all of your nerve endings within your body, your entire chain of your endocrine system, even within the nucleus of every cell of your body, and just allow this earth frequency to now just vibrate through you. Okay. And however it comes through for you is fine. It doesn't have to look any particular way. This is your own unique magic you're getting in touch with, your own means of connecting with this energy. We each have a different way of connecting with it. And sometimes you'll have your own spiritual or your religious, symbolism come through for you. You'll get your own image of it, and whatever it is, it's perfect for you. Okay. And as you're sitting here breathing in this energy, I want you to envision now that there's this cocoon that's starting to build and form around you. And let's have it travel in that circular pattern. Okay. So start from the bottom up. Start from the bottom up, and it's swirling around you, this soft, safe, internalized space, this buffering space that's going to hold this place of transformation for you. All right. Just allow this cocoon to build all around you, and you can make your outer layer of your cocoon as big as you need it to be. Some days you may need it to be bigger than others, so just tap into where you're at today. All right. And just create this soft, space around you. Just allow it to build as great as you need it to be, and trust however that imagery comes through for you too. And just sit in this space that you've created now, and just notice how different you feel internally in this moment as you did from when you first started this. Just notice how, just with the power of your focus, with calling forward your awareness, notice how different you feel just right now. And understand that you are the one that's creating this space. You're creating it. It's not me. I'm not creating that for you. It's not anything that's happening in your life outside of you. You're creating it. You're creating this space right now. Okay? This is your creative power working through you right now in this moment. And you have a clear channel, direct access to your higher consciousness, to spirit, to God, to goddess, to the Tao, however you relate to it. No way is the right way, and no way is the wrong way. It's just your way. Okay. So allow yourself to just fill this space with that essence right now, however you relate to it. Fill this space inside of your cocoon with spirit, or with the muse, or with the Tao, the way, your higher consciousness, or maybe it's an animal totem that comes through for you, and it's the essence of that animal totem. It's the spirit of that animal totem. We're going to be working with an animal totem for this exercise. Naturally, as you can see, we're going to be working with butterfly medicine, monarch medicine. I want to bring in the monarch medicine because monarch is associated with the ancestors, especially within my tradition, my ancestral tradition. So I'm sharing a little bit of this with you. It's known as the native tribes, the ancestors of the native tribes that are migrating, their spirits, their essence. I've had a lot coming in recently, too, just in my own downloads, tying together Kachina, this Kachina piece with the butterfly piece, and it's all sort of merging together. So it's being called to be brought in right now for some reason. So I'm trusting that there's something about that archetypal symbolism that has significance for the collective as well at this time. So however you relate to that essence, that energy, just drink it in, okay? Drink it into your cocoon, and let it build however you see it. And again, Get in touch with it. See if you can build a sort of an image around it. Does it have a texture? Does it have a sound? Does it have a quality to it? Is it hot? Is it cold? Is there a certain elemental quality to it that seems front and center, however it comes through for you? And now I want you to envision that this essence that you called into your cocoon, it's starting to alchemize you, your identity as you've known yourself to be, the stories that you have about yourself, the reputation that precedes you, whatever energy you came into this cocoon with, is now starting to dissolve, because we know that when that caterpillar goes into the cocoon, and it has to turn into soup. And so now you're going to see yourself, you're sort of dissolving into this inner soul stew, you could say. And it's the same waters that's in that collective cauldron of Dagda, where we all see ourselves as separate, but now we're all dissolving into the awareness that, oh, I am that. And yeah, I just have my role to play, but I'm still part of that one great creative force, that energy of ecstasis, that song of ecstasis, that one great note that we all bring into symphony through the parts that we play on this great stage of life. I'm coming into contact with that, the fluidity of that at all. That it refuses to have a fixed form. It's meant to flow. It's meant to always be in the space of what would some say is chaos. Chaos in terms of their BS around it, but now even the BS is dissolving. Oh, this doesn't feel like a disruptive space, right? This feels like a creative space. This feels like a fluid space. This feels like a space that it can take whatever form I want it to take. So see if right now, if in that space, some kind of form comes through for you, that this creative soul soup, this chaos energy, this energy of Eris on the North Node. Let's see. Does it want to take a particular form in you? Maybe it comes through as just a symbol for you right now. You might not know what this symbol is. That's okay. Just see what kind of symbol comes through for you, or what kind of image comes through for you, and trust that this is a little direct communication from your muse coming through, of what wants to be actualized and brought into manifestation through you to connect you with your passion and your purpose right now. And maybe this is just your first key, right? It's just the initiation point. You're about to go through an initiation this week. This is just the key that unlocks that doorway to the initiation for you, into who you were born to be, who you're here to be. That part of you that is ready to transform this fate into destiny. Okay. So just let it come through and accept it. Accept it as a gift. And as you accept it as a gift and you take this in, know that it's also forged from the wisdom of your ancestors. So this thing has roots too. It's not just something that is drawing down into you, but it's something that's rising up into you too. And it meets in the center of you, right? It's that dream that those who came before you had, that wanted to see this brought into fruition. It's the dream that all of humanity has always had, to just be in this energy of beauty and love and creativity and wholeness and connectivity and interrelation and freedom to be the freest, boldest, most brilliant version of who we're here to be, that expression of our ashe, our soul's essence. So take in that gift now. And as you do, start to see yourself coming back together. Now you're remembering who you are, drawing in all the best parts of you from your Akashic records, all the best parts of you from the roots of your past, all of those dreams of your ancestors, all their magics that are wanting to awaken in you now are being drawn up from below and from above. All of the wisdom of spirit that is ready to be activated in you right now is flowing down into you. And just envision and beautiful eagle feather floating down, and now it's coming in through your crown, and it's sweeping all that energy away from the old way, from the past, just like the Zen gardeners or the Tibetan monks who create the beautiful sand mandalas and then just sweep it all away. There's a beauty, there's a grace to this letting go of the old identity. There's a beauty and the grace of the release and the avenue, what it brings forward to be expressed through you now. And allow that feather to come to rest within that symbol, that gift, and see the feather turn gold. And now allow this gold energy to flow all throughout that symbol and to flow all throughout you, and start to see yourself come into form as all of your cells are bathed in gold, and all of your nerve endings and all of your physical form. Just see you rising up out of this gold, once fluid energy, now coming in to the form of you. And allow that gold energy to just sort of just dissipate and become integrated within you. And out of your back, right in between your shoulder blades, where Anahata is, your heart chakra. Envision butterfly wings starting to sprout, and they're unfurling within this cocoon now. And as your wings continue to unfurl, you're starting to notice that this cocoon feels just, if starting to feel a little confining now. So why don't we work with some of that energy, even as you're in this internalized space? Let's start to move the energy. Let's move into the yang quality. Let's build that light energy. Okay. Notice that this dark internalized space, it's becoming confining as your wings continue to expand, and they want to open. They want to open. So see if you can start to now release a little bit of that cocoon, and now maybe just the tips of your wings are poking through, and slowly start to make more room and more expansion. You can use your breath for this too. Breathing in, and with every exhalation, more of that cocoon expands and starts to become more permeable and starts to fall away. And breathe in and expand. And now that cocoon is starting to have a little of the light outside peer within. And oh, it feels good to have this light come into this space from outside of your cloistered comfort that you were within, as you were integrating and releasing and coming back together again by remembering and also refining, right? And just allow that cocoon to slip away and just spread out your wings. Just spread them out and allow them to like flutter a little bit. Just allow them to flutter. And when you're ready, just flutter your eyes a little bit. Come into the room. Look around you. Just kind of make contact with your body, okay? Gently at first, right? When we start to emerge from cocooning, we want to be gentle. Okay. If you've had a long internalized time, it's okay. It's okay to come back to life gently, right? So You can ease into these transitions. Okay. We're just going to leave your wings open. All right. How you're going to take flight this week is going to be up to you. We'll see what happens. We're in a creative play space here. Okay. And I think there's going to be so much coming in, and you're going to know which direction you should fly in. Okay. Which area is ready for expansion. And hello, good to see you, Star Tree Dancer. And hello, Angela. All right. Alpha of Alcyon, number 24. Okay, so that's 6. This is very interesting. I'm a life path 24/6, so that just hit me just now. It's very interesting. And for that to come in, I feel like there's something very pivotal that's going to come in for you all this week that has all the seed, of the activation of your life path purpose in it. Right? So pay attention. It's coming in on the wind. A beautiful monarch butterfly also came to visit, and a hummingbird teased the 2 black cats yesterday. Oh, wow. Kachina doll also came in for me last week. I had many as a child. Can't make this magic up. No. And see, that's the thing. It's like people are always amazed by the synchronicities, right? But it's not so complicated. I'll share my fairy name on the third road that I got on the third road, which is the initial fairy path that I was initiated onto. And Francesca de Grandis is who shared that path with me and that wisdom with me. But I'm now, exploring my own branch. I now work with my own, expression of that, and it's becoming something altogether new for me. And it's interesting because the thing is that these themes, as you start to really recognize, it's one thing to say, oh, it's all interconnected, but one thing you really realize when you come into this place where you're like, no, actually it really is all one, and I'm starting to actually recognize that. The thing that causes you to recognize that is the synchronicities. You really do start to understand, no, this is actually, it is a collective consciousness. That's what synchronicity is. That's why all of us can, resonate with these symbolisms. And it's wild because Kachina came in and I was confused because Kachina came in for me when I was working with my ancestral energy, which is the Comanche. And now I've always associated Kachina with Hopi, right? And every tribe is different. And I was like, why is this coming in when I'm chilling out here, with my Comanche ancestors? And so naturally, after I, did my journeying, I did some research because I always follow it up with research. And what I learned was the Comanche had Kachina too. And I was like, oh, I don't know a lot about it yet because I haven't had time to dive into it. That's going to be a whole rabbit hole for me. But that fascinated me. It fascinated me. So I love that this came through for you too. So it's very interesting. So you see, it's like even these borders, these lines in the sand that we've created, these like parameters around our experience, where it's like, well, these are my ancestors. It's like it doesn't matter. There's often, if you trace threads, this is why I like to look at the cross-cultural piece so much. You'll see it's all one big circle of life, that these energies are all the same energies. And even ancestrally, we all come from the same source. At the end of the day, we're all interconnected despite the outer expressions of the energies. I love that came in for you. That's really potent and very interesting. Yes, listen. There's going to be so much that's going to come in for you, and you're drawing it down. It's musing energy. A lot will come in on the wind. Do pay attention to the direction that the wind is blowing, though. And same with the creatures of the sky that you're seeing. What direction are they flying in? What behavior are the birds exhibiting? That's very shamanic in principle, to grok it, you know? That's what it means to shape shift. To shape shift begins first with this piece of being able to focus on the animal that you're witnessing, right? In this case, bird medicine's coming through very strongly, all bird medicine. And paying attention when you're seeing eagle symbolism show up, because there's something that's like Great Spirit really wants you to pay attention to that. And of course, we have, Garuda wants you to pay attention to that too. It's what's going to bring in your blessings. It's what's going to open the road for you and bring in the blessings and tap you into all those gifts that want to awaken within you and through you at this time. And then will be evident in the world around you. And it was 1 1 1 1 1 on the clock when I brought that in. Like, this is the start of the new cycle this week. Okay. It's really beautiful energy. I love the card. I just love it. One more time. One more time. Let's read what Alana Fairchild has to say about this. Let's see here. Let's bring in her words on this. And I love how the last one I did is still in the book, the Lasya Parvati. It's like the Parvati. See how it was more internalized? We started out with this. We started out with the Lasya Parvati, and now it's like ready to move into the outward expression. Do you see? Isn't that beautiful? It's like the energy traveled down to awaken the inspiration, the consciousness, that wish fulfilling gem. And now it's ready to travel outwardly. She opened her eyes. She's looking up now. First, she was looking down. Now she's looking up. As above, so below. It's still working with that creative Shakti energy. Really cool energy and play. I woke up today and was like, oh, this is what I've been waiting for. Some shift has happened in the collective consciousness. So I think that's beautiful. Let's see what Alana Fairchild has to say about it before we wrap this up here. And then I'll touch base with you all to see if you have any experiences you want to bring in, any questions you might have. She'll have her healing process too. So we might go on another little journey, all right? Or it might just be sometimes she brings in something that it's not really a meditative process, but just for a focus for you to have. So we'll see what comes in there. Alpha of Alcyon. A positive twist of fate and a windfall of good fortune are destined for you. I love it when it aligns. Brightness and hope will alleviate negativity and give you the strength to find your way through a time of adversity or challenge. Finally, you will experience peace, love, and deep connection with your true self and the universe. Good things are on their way to you. The brightest star in the Pleiades star system, Alcyon, holds the frequency of love, the sacred feminine healing power of compassion, and the grace of mercy. In the myths of ancient Greece, Alcyon was so in love with her husband Ceyx that she referred to him as Zeus, and he referred to her as the divine wife of Zeus, Hera. Zeus was so irritated by such grandiosity that when Ceyx was at sea, Zeus struck his ship with a lightning bolt. In her grief, Alcyon threw herself into the sea. Oh, this is wild because of the Clash of the Titans clip that I brought in earlier this week. It's kind of being mimicked in the play there. Very interesting. In her grief, Alcyon threw herself into the sea. Moved by mercy, the gods transformed the lovers into kingfishers. These birds embody the spiritual medicine of abundance, love, prosperity, peace, and happiness, bringing blessings of hope and healing to humanity. The halcyon days take their name from this goddess turned kingfisher. They are the 7 days on either side. Oh my goodness. The 7 days on either side of the shortest day of the year, the winter solstice. During this time, there are said to be no storms, only peaceful weather. This is interesting. I have to interrupt here because we talked about 7 days. So I feel what's coming through is 7 days of musing, inspiration that are going to directly play a role in you going up into your north node, that activation of your north node, or what we're questing for with the fourth jewel, the 12th at dawn, which will start with new moon. I don't remember the date of that, so I'll have to look and we'll dive more into that down the road. But that's not where our focus is right now. Right now we're still in the cauldron. Okay, we have until new moon in the cauldron, but these next 7 days are bringing in some inspiration that plays a very pivotal role in unlocking your destiny, in unlocking the power of Leophale, that stone of destiny, which only sings out, only cries out when touched by a sovereign. All right. So this is you coming into your sovereignty, and there's something that's aligning you with this energy at this time. And again, it's bringing in that time right around winter solstice. All right. 7 days on either side of the winter solstice, which will naturally take us to Yule. And the final full moon of the year, which occurs in the sign of Cancer. All right. There's that sea energy. Cancer also represents, in the zodiac wheel is the house of the home, okay, or the roots, right? It goes very deeply. But Hera is known as a goddess of the home and hearth. So I'm finding the parallels are fascinating to me. So that final full moon, you're going to be activating your destiny big time. It's going to be an important time. And it's true. I've been feeling this. The light building energy is coming in. And it's because there's so many of us that are actually taking responsibility. We're deciding, yes, I recognize that I am creator, that there is no separation between me and creator. And because of that, I have my own reality tunnel, okay? My own channel that I run creator through. And I get to step into the place of choosing how I want to express that in the world. And a lot of us are stepping into that position of saying, yes, I am ready to be a conscious creator. And so that's why we're going to work with the manifestation energy. But yes, this is a positive sign. Look for that final full moon. It's on the 26th of December. Okay. It's the day after, and it's the final full moon of the year. And we're really ending it with a bang. It's this powerful energy coming in then that really signifies an arrival point, like you're there, you're in alignment now with the new path forward. So big time of transformation. During this time, there is said to be no storms, only peaceful weather. All right. Legend has it that the god of the winds calms all storms during this period so Alcyon can nest safely. The term now symbolizes a period of luminous grace amidst a challenging time, during which one can rest in tranquility. It is also an omen of more peaceful days of love and prosperity ahead. Alcyon is the goddess of grace and mercy, especially in the face of heart-wrenching loss. She reassures us that we will find a way through and that there is comfort for us when we need it, even if further work needs to be done before we can be fully released into a new era of happiness. When Alpha of Alcyon makes an appearance, we are near to the deepest, darkest phase of our suffering and can trust we are already beginning to emerge on the other side. So I love this because it's the theme also of what we're moving through with the courses, with both Grace in Crisis and Roots with Wings. And it's about that time of getting ready to emerge, right? And how do we hold the space when it does feel a bit much so we can really nurture that light because it is ready to come forward in us. We're not meant to stay in that holding pattern. And we can go into that space when we're looking at circular patterns with the Sabian symbol of 15 degrees Libra, the balancing point. We can look at this in terms of moment to moment as well. It doesn't even have to be looked at from more of a grander perspective. It can occur on that microscopic of a level too. So anytime you feel activated, you can come into this consciousness of, okay, and how can I create space for it in this moment, right? That space where I can rest in this moment and get clear on what's happening here, and then move out of it, spiral out of it to express it in a new way where I'm not reacting but responding. Alpha brain waves are deep, calming waves. They are what we experience when daydreaming or slipping into peaceful relaxation or meditation. In the alpha state, imagination and intuition are heightened. As such, these brain waves are a gateway into the subconscious mind. As the bridge between conscious everyday awareness and deep altered states, alpha waves allow us to be awake and functioning while connected to our inner well of wisdom and support. If we are in stimulation overload, alpha blocking can occur. Learning to consciously switch off and relax by dropping into the 8 hertz to 12 hertz range helps us melt away stress and tune into our intuition without becoming too floaty and unfocused, which is so important for Vata. Vata can have a tendency, especially when there's a lot of that natural expansion that's part of Vata too. Vata has the ability to go out into the ethers, to be connected very easily to spirit. It's a natural aspect of Vata's makeup, you know, when we're looking at it as our expression as human beings of the Vata dosha. Vata is ether. So there is that ability to go way out there. But that's why the roots are so important to like, okay, yes, have your wings and fly and move into expansion, but don't forget to root it. Don't forget to get lost out there, right? Wandering into the alfalfa. It's important that we remember as above, so below, that the inspiration doesn't mean anything unless we're able to like root it in the marketplace of material reality. Hmm. Important point. The Oracle of Alpha of Alcyon supports us in relaxing and reconnecting to optimism even during tough times. In such a state, we will realize that difficulties will eventually come to an end and we will be provided for. This oracle brings guidance that a new reality of happiness is available to us even now as we steadily make our way to the light of a happy new start. Okay, so here's the healing process. So let's just listen to it. And you can follow along with it if you want to in real time, but I don't know what it says. So I'm not sure if it's leading us into an actual meditation practice or if maybe it's something that will be better applied outside of this session. So let's just work with that unknown energy. All right. I'm going to allow you to receive it however it feels right for you. So if you feel like going internal and closing your eyes and focusing on your breath to receive it, cool. And if not, you know, just ride it out with me here, right? Any way that's comfortable for you. Healing process. Find a place where you can rest without being distracted or disturbed and settle into a comfortable position. If possible, have something restful and beautiful to look at, such as trees or the ocean or some beloved crystals or sacred objects. Become aware of your breathing. Let your focus be soft and diffuse. Notice the rise and fall of your breath and allow it to become slower and deeper without forcing it. If there is tension in your body, use that same soft, diffuse focus to relax that part of your body a little. Allow your mind to drift without trying to hold on to any idea, without trying to follow any thought, but just softly, fluidly, open to the play of imagination. You may become a little drowsy, or you may just feel increasingly relaxed. Aim to get to the state where if you had to talk with someone, it would take you a few moments to speak, and you would do so slowly rather than swiftly formulating your thoughts. Enjoy the softening of your mental edges. Then allow your imagination to drift into the heart as though it was a gentle, shining inner temple of white light. See two kingfisher birds flying and playing together. One lovingly protects the other as she lays her eggs. The realm is peaceful and still. You may even feel some emotion welling up as you connect to the energy of such a gentle paradise. Let your heart feel what it needs to feel. Just be. Dreamily and softly repeat this mantra to yourself. I embrace spiritual grace. Say this to yourself several times now. I embrace spiritual grace. I embrace spiritual grace. I embrace spiritual grace. You may even want to dance or meditate a little upon that mantra. When you have rested in this space for as long as feels good, slowly and gently guide yourself back to the present moment and a somewhat more alert state by using your breath and grounding yourself. You have completed your healing process. So for those of you who went internal with that, go ahead and flutter your eyes open again and come back into the room and sort of look around you. All right. I like that I felt called to kind of just do the smoothing over with the last visualization. So it could kind of still allow those of you who wanted to journey more inward with that in real time, the ability to do that without being totally like, snapped out of that consciousness that we built with that journeying visualization. So now would be the time to like more vigorously kind of like pat your body, okay? You have to remember that when you go into these deep internalized spaces, it's important, especially for Vata. And when you do your head, you still can make it more vigorous in your face. You just use your fingers to tap, okay? It's a really great way to bring you back in your body, and it also has a physical benefit. It stimulates your lymph, okay? It gets your lymph system moving and flowing. And I thought it was funny how Ted was bringing in the water element there, and it was perfect because I didn't expect water element to come into that visualization, but it did. And once again, it just is. I love this, the interconnection, and how we brought all these themes in with the visualization, and again, it just speaks so clearly the way that creative energy and with intention and focus, as you can so clearly see, that Alana Fairchild brings into her art, that you can tap into that signature and what it means without a single word. That's why art is so powerful. That's why archetypal symbolism is so powerful, because it speaks across cultures. It speaks across BS, it unravels the belief systems. This is something we know what this feels like. We can look at it, we know what it feels like, and we know what that translates to us. It's the same thing with music, right? You hear music, it's like you don't need to know the words. It evokes a feeling and essence. And this piece is really wanting to come through this week, first of all, because it's just an important part of Ayurveda and Panchakarma. When we're in the final week, is really getting in contact with the feeling experience, the emotions, unlocking the heart center and opening up to receive and allowing that creative energy to flow through. And it's like coming into the arms of the Divine Mother. It's just this very beautiful, watery kind of energy that we build at this time. It's the kapha energy. It's not just the water energy, it's also the earth energy. And you need that water, to pour on that earth to make beautiful things grow. So it's really about invoking that beauty and that fullness. And if you were to think of kapha in this form, it's the image of rolling, hills of emerald green with beautiful babbling brooks and streams running through it, leading into raging, rolling, unctuous, rivers that wind and flow into the source of the sea, so just really connect with those essences. That really can help you understand the energy that's going to build this week from an Ayurvedic perspective. We're tapping into the way that water can slowly, refine. It's a more subtle form of refinement, right? It doesn't have to be so harsh. It can come more softly, but yet you can have the water come through and create some wonder like the Grand Canyon, right? There's power in it. There's power in it. So very beautiful. I love how that came through with this download for today. And I just wanted to open it up and ask if anybody has any questions or if there's anything that they want to bring in. I'm trying to keep my lives a little bit more condensed. I mean, it's great to do the kind of 4 hour deep drop ins, but I also feel like I want to bring in other things for the channel too. And we're going to bring in the cross watcher read today. We're going to have a little fun, a little playfulness. Okay. And I decided we did it as a bonus, like kind of a bonus all signs, since we didn't have really a set reading, series that came through to determine who's going to receive, who's going to receive the read in November. So I decided we were going to do a cross watchers read where we're going to look at each individual sign from the cross watchers perspective. And I got another layer of it today that I think is going to be kind of fun. And I decided I'm going to just make that the reading series. So in other words, I'm not going to do one great read where it has all the signs in it. No, we're really going to go into it. So we're going to start with Scorpio. It's the Scorpio season, all right? So Scorpio will be kicking off this season. I'm going to bring that in today. And we're going to look at what are the cross watchers thinking about Scorpio right now. Hey, Jared, it's good to see you, G. And then we're gonna do a little twist on it though. All right. We're gonna let you have your clap back, Scorpio. So this is how it's gonna play out for each individual sign. First, we'll give the cross watchers perspective. How are the cross watchers viewing Scorpio or whatever sign we're on? How are they viewing them? And then we're gonna let the sign clap back and say, well, actually, this is how it is. All right. So it should be fun, and I like this sort of like bringing that piece in where it's not just solely a cross watchers read, but it's kind of allowing you to like clap back or say your piece or speak your truth and go, no, actually, let me clarify. This is where I'm at. And I think it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to diving into that read. And who knows? Yeah, right? I thought so too. I was like, maybe we should make it like I might enjoy making it a regular series here, especially for like trying to work through things of conflicts, right? Challenges, learning how to communicate. So I thought it would be a cool kind of mirror because that's what's been coming in with the I Ching so much, right? It's been all of this, well, what's going on within is happening without. So I thought it could be an interesting kind of mirroring sort of read. So Scorpios is coming in today. And there will be more coming in. All right. I'm going to be putting out more reads this week. We will have our final live coming in for our Panchakarma. And we'll be doing that on Saturday. Yes, on Saturday. I mean, I can't be responsible for what others feel about me. So Scorpio. All right, so we already got it. Yeah, we saw that play out on me and Cal's live too, right? So and I love it. That's what I love about going live. It's like the spontaneity of the moment. It's like, yeah, it's funny. It's one thing to talk about these things, right? It's one thing to talk about conflict, right? And like, oh, there's a way you can move through it. And it's another thing to see it like in action where there's like people, exercising their point. And I learned a lot out of that. One thing I have to say, one thing that was very much illuminated for me in the experiences, I have an experience with Cal where she inspires me. Okay. She's like super wise. She knows astrology better than just anybody I can think of. And I'm not saying that to bring about a competitive air. It has nothing to do with that. It's just that who she studied with and the roots of her knowledge and understanding of astrology, she is truly a master of her craft. And so this thing happens, and I work on a different level. Like Cal was saying, I pick up things through my pores. Like I can't always explain what I get, but it always ties into what she gets. And she has some views about predictive stuff, but I have to say, there's times I get predictions. I'm a seer. Okay, so we both have our own talents. We both have our own ways of working with things. But what happens for me when I meet with Cal, and I want to make clear, my broadcast, it's not traditional format. Okay, this isn't about we're interviewing here. Let me ask you these questions and blah, blah, blah. No, this is like we're sitting, we're talking, we're shooting the shit. It's like if we were friends sitting and having a conversation, no matter who I have on. That's the way it always goes. We're just talking, we're hanging out. It's not formulaic. It's not, I have my list of questions to ask Cal or anything. Cal introduced the theme, but there's still free flow in that and an expression within that. There's her piece to share. There's also the other expression, the more subtle layers of that want to come through. Now, I always trust whatever comes through is exactly what needs to come through. So when Cal starts talking and she starts sharing, I mean, I really, I looked at it and I took it in and I'm like, okay, I got to learn how to temper this. But what happens for me is she super inspires me. And so this thing happens in my consciousness where as soon as and I know you all feel it too, that this thing happens in my consciousness where it's like boom, 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 boom. And then I have synapses firing off. And it's like that piece where she brought in like, whoa, like lay off the coffee, like the way, that's the way I get things. Like when my downloads come in, it's like it's almost like it's impossible for me to stop it when a download comes in because it's just like and I recognize that I got to figure out how can I step out of that stream. It's something I still need to work with because, and again, it's sort of like, well, that stream of consciousness took the wheel, and I believe it took a wheel so it could create the ideal scenario for us to have this experience where I'm like, whoa, that stream of consciousness took over, and I could understand Cal feeling like, well, whoa, wait, let me talk, and she brought her piece in. And I thought it was so funny though, the mirroring, right? The mirroring that came in. Cal, Cal asked me a question. I'm trying to respond. She starts talking over me. So it's like this similar energy, right? And how often do we experience this? How often does the collective experience this? Even when you're online, you're typing something out, right? And you get into a flame war with somebody or something. But I thought it was so brilliant. And I was like, she was so worried about it not being Scorpio. And it's like, can we get out of the box of like Scorpio has to look about, no, fuck the box. No, this is Scorpio. This is it. This is this transformational soup. And yeah, is it awkward? Is it like, whoa, this is live? Whoa, it's spontaneous. It's improv. Let's do it. Okay. Now we're cooking. And I'm kind of like, I live for that. I mean, I think you could see that I was laughing. I live with this energy. I live with this energy. I do. I live with this energy on a continual basis. But I also live for it because it's activating. And yes, it's activating, but there's two different ways you can go with that. You can be like, okay, this is weird. Okay, how do we navigate this? And you can be overcome with that, where then you start to close off, right? And you go back into this contracted space where you can go, okay, now wait a minute. Let's work with this. This is interesting. And that's what I really felt about it. I felt it was interesting. And I love that going through, Cal was so worried about, do we have enough time to talk about Scorpio? What's ironic is in watching the replay, I was like, that seemed to her like it was such a large portion of what we share, but it was actually made up a very small portion of it, right? I do live with it. Yeah, I do. It ended up being such a small portion of that live, though. Really, because I look back and I was like, "Wow, it was like 20 minutes of the discussion, and we went like over, over 4 hours. 4 hours after that, we talked. Almost 4 hours after that, we talked about nothing but just Scorpio symbolism, and it was perfect. And everybody got a lot out of it, right? Everybody got a lot out of it. I got a lot. I'm like, okay, I got to learn how to temper that, because I don't want to like do that. I don't want to override. And at the same time, she so inspired me. And then at the same time, I was like, yeah, but it was totally meant to come through that way. It's an interesting experience, and she should, same thing for her. She's like, I always get something out of it. Like, that's why I keep doing it. It's like I asked Cal to come on again, and her response was kind of funny because she was like, hell, why not? Almost like we know it's going to be dicey. We know it's going to be unusual. We don't know what's going to happen here. But okay, let's do it. So, and I'm glad that everybody else got that too, because it's like, let's not put like this perfect, pristine, edited, kind of like take on what does this look like. You see like videos on conflict resolution, or it's like, yeah, but when you're in the thick of it, that's not what it's really like. And that's why I love it, right? And I love Cal. She cracks me up. And it's perfect too. And I think you've all recognized this as well, that Cal and I do have our differences, and it's also, it kind of spans that, some of those division points, right? Where Cal is very traditional in a lot of ways, and I'm not. I'm more eccentric. And so it's kind of interesting. She's got eccentricity too, but you notice that the eccentricity is more rooted in traditionalism with Cal. So there's places where she has very set ways of viewing things, and I tend to be a little bit more fluid, where it's like, well, it's okay, you can see it in the set way, and here's this take too, and we don't need to debate about it. It's okay for you to have your set view of seeing things, but I see it this way. And it's just a creative play space. So I enjoyed it too. It was pretty wild though. It was pretty wild. And I'm glad that people got that out of it and that they were able to receive that too. And I'm glad you enjoyed it, Angela. But did anybody have anything else that they wanted to bring in? And she didn't know I was channeling. I think she pulled a little shamanic. I think that's what that shut up was. It was a little shamanic. They'll do that in shamanism when you're like, for example, when you're doing soul retrieval or something where you have to go real deep and you're in this like, they'll like throw water on you, cold water on you, and it's to snap you out of it. This is literally what it takes. That's why when I do readings for people, personals, I always tell them, if you need to interrupt, like just interrupt me. I'm not going to think it's rude, because sometimes I can't pull myself out of that. Yeah, I know. We're two intense people. We're like chaos manifest. I feel we are that chaos energy. But we always pull something creative out of it, okay? So it doesn't have to be destructive. It doesn't have to be destructive. And I know Cal's all about love. She is. She's all about love. She is a tether. She can I'll take full ownership of that. That's not the first time I've been told that, man. Francesca DeGrandis, in working with Francesca, she's told me before, she's like, you got to be careful, Shannon. She's like, because you like to go way out there. I'm like, yeah, I do. But that's the thing is like you can go way out there and it gets harder to kind of like, hey, come back, come back. But I love it. That's like for me. I'm like, whoo, you'll find me out there surfing the Zabuya. Yeah. That's my preferred MO. I like to be out. And I can hang out there for a long time. I can dip into ferry. I'll be like, oh, I think I'm just going to spend a month in ferry. Come out later. So yeah, I have to be mindful about that. So little bit of my Capricorn, Pluto and Capricorn work, laying down the foundation. Yeah. Oh, well, I love having you all travel with me too, you know. But, and sometimes I feel like, hey, Cal, man, come over here with me a little bit. But I love that, I love Cal so much. She's awesome. She's rad. And yeah, she sits on her skis and surfs. Exactly. I love that part. Oh, that was so cute. All right. Well, it doesn't seem like anybody has any questions per se. So I hope you just enjoy the insights that are going to come in this week. The light is starting to change outside. So now I'm starting to move into the chameleon zone. So I think now is about the time that I'm going to go ahead and log out of this, maybe grab a bite to eat, get grounded. And then I'll be back later tonight with the Scorpio read for the Cross Watchers series. And I'm excited to bring that in for all of you. All right. Thank you to those of you who showed up and contributed to the discussion and all of the sweet wishes and nice, nice things said as StreamYard Banana Alex. All right, y'all. Love you all. I want you to have a beautiful day. Okay, beautiful evening. Enjoy the energy, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Take care.